This little car has a spring inside it. So if I pull it back like this, energy is being stored in the spring. Then if I set the car here, there's energy stored in the form of elastic potential energy inside the vehicle. And when I let go, energy is being transformed from elastic potential energy into kinetic energy. But I don't have to push. This is a transformation that happens inside the vehicle. The vehicle is the system. And inside the system, energy is being transformed from elastic potential energy to kinetic energy as the vehicle moves. But if I have a vehicle like this one doesn't have energy storage inside it. And this one, if I let it sit there, it'll just sit there. If I want it to move, I have to push it. Now if I push it, I'm applying a force from outside the system. This is the system. I'm an external agent, and if I push on it, I can make it move. The push that I apply puts energy into the system, because if I give the car a push, now it has kinetic energy. The kinetic energy got there because I put it there, and we say, I'm doing work. Work is the product of the force times the distance. So the force with which I push times the distance through which I push. That's the work. So think about this. If I give this car a shove, I can make it move at a certain speed. Suppose I want to put twice as much energy in the system. I want to put twice as much energy in. I can change how I push. And how do I have to change how I push? Twice as much energy. How am I going to change the way I push? We'll give you some choices. Work is the energy that comes into the system. Work is the product of force times distance. So if I want twice as much energy, that's twice as much work. That's twice as much force for the same distance, or the same force for twice the distance, or some combination. But I can increase the force, or I can increase the distance. And it turns out the time has no bearing in this case. But time is related to another property of energy, which is what we'll talk about right now. Let's take a look at this flashlight here. Flashlight lights up when I squeeze the handle, but when I stop squeezing, the light stops as well. This light bulb inside this flashlight is transforming electric energy into light energy, and that does that at a certain rate. The units for energy are joules, and so there's a certain number of joules per second that are being converted from electric energy into light energy. And with this light bulb, it's about 2 joules per second. It's about 2 joules per second. And that's a power of 2 watts. Okay? So 2 joules every second. And so if I want to keep this light going, I have to put in 2 joules every second. Now, let's take a look at a power problem. Let's take a look at a power problem. I've got 2 solar cells here. So I'm going to turn the light on, and we'll let these charge up for 2 minutes. So there's 2 minutes of light energy being converted into electric energy by the solar cells, and that's stored as chemical energy in a battery. So it's 2 minutes worth of energy, basically, stored inside those batteries. We'll let them charge up. Okay, so we've got energy, which is stored inside these batteries. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off the lights, and then I'll pop out the batteries, and energy is stored inside these batteries. And it's the same amount of energy in both of them. So both these batteries have the same amount of energy. We're going to use one of them to run a fan, and we're going to use the other one to run a flashlight. And what we're going to do is we're going to time for how long the energy in the battery will run a fan and how long it'll run a flashlight. All right. And I'm going to do some timing, and here we go. Wow, that ran the flashlight for about 2 seconds. It ran the fan for about 4 seconds. Now the flashlight uses energy at a rate of 2 watts, 2 joules per second. So here's a question for you. At what rate does the fan use energy? So 2 seconds, 4 seconds, 2 watts. How many watts for the fan? We'll give you some choices. Let's think about this. The flashlight is using 2 joules per second, and it takes it 2 seconds to exhaust all the energy which is stored inside the battery. So the fan takes 4 seconds to exhaust that energy, twice as much time, and so it's using it half as rapidly. So if this is 2 watts, this is 1 watt. It's 1 watt for the fan. Let's just do a check. 2 joules per second for 2 seconds says 4 joules of energy. 4 joules of energy at 1 watt, 1 joules per second, gives us 4 seconds worth of fan. And so that works out just right. Work and power, those are the last 2 quantities which you need to be able to solve problems. But there's another type of issue which we need to consider. This flashlight is a very inefficient flashlight. You can get flashlights which will provide more light for much longer. That notion of efficiency, how energy is really used in practical considerations, is something that we'll consider in the next chapter.